Organization Affairs at the State Department. So she's in town, obviously doing a lot of work with the president and the rest of the State Department staff that's at the UN, getting ready for the U.S. and President Obama's speech at the UN and the MDGs later this afternoon, as well as his speech to the general debate tomorrow. So we have her, Esther Brimmer. Welcome, Assistant Secretary.
Thank you. Good to be with you.
And she's with Mark Goldberg of UN Dispatch, is the gentleman on the screen there. She's been, the Assistant Secretary is good enough to spend a few minutes with us now. And we will start off with Mark Goldberg. We'll get us started, and then I'm going to ask the Assistant Secretary a couple questions from the podium here.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Rob, and thanks everyone, and thank especially to you, Dr. Brimmer. I wanted to sort of jump right into things. The big news of the day today is that President Obama will unveil a new U.S. global development strategy in a speech to the UN this afternoon. My first question is, why does the U.S. need a new development strategy? And can you maybe give us some preview, some highlights of that speech?
Thank you. Certainly. First, I want to say it's great to be with you today. It's a busy time here up in New York, especially today as we focus on development issues. And indeed, very early on, this administration made it clear how important development issues would be to American foreign policy. The president said that the Millennium Development Goals would be the United States development goals. And so the administration's had a real concerted effort to look at how we focus our development issues to correspond with and help the overall global effort on meeting the MDGs. That's clearly the focus of the meetings right now occurring today and that have been going on this week. And the president is going to focus on particularly the importance of development to U.S. foreign policy, and is going to look at both the importance of economic growth to meeting the development goals, and looking at how we can move ahead over the next 5 years on completing those MDGs, and working particularly with countries that are trying to meet the MDGs. In a sense, if we could look ahead, it's important to try to understand what has worked, where it has worked, try to draw on those lessons learned and incorporate them into the development strategy. And that's why we want to lay out a new emphasis on what's worked, taking those lessons and integrating them into the development strategy.
All right, so Rob, you had a couple questions as well?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Brimmer. The first question I have, it goes to the Development Goals 4 and 5, and we kind of have a big day at the UN today around women's health and children's health with the Secretary General's event, Every Woman, Every Child. And I'm curious to know how the U.S. Plans to contribute and work with the agenda on MDGs 4 and 5 specifically.
Thank you. As you know, trying to meet the issues of maternal and child health are absolutely central to the Millennium Development Goals. First, there's, of course, concern about needing to make more progress on these goals in particular, and that that progress has not been made as much as possible. We need to get maternal mortality down, and we need to work on child health, especially in the very early years. And so that's a real emphasis in terms of the MDGs. It also brings together, in a sense, an intersection of several key themes in development work now. The importance of the role of women and reaching women. That's important on health because women are crucial both to the health of themselves and their families. It's also crucial on nutrition issues, and as you know, the Feed the Future initiative focuses on small farmers, particularly in many countries those will be women. And so both women's empowerment and addressing health and addressing nutrition all come together in addressing these health issues. And we know particularly the crucial role that women play in children's health in the first 1,000 days. As you know, yesterday, the Secretary of State was actually at an initiative jointly held with the Irish Foreign Minister called the 1,000 Days, part of a larger movement that looks at the importance of nutrition in both during the period of pregnancy and the first 2 years of life. That spans crucial time in maternal and child health. So there's a real sense of understanding where can we target resources, target emphasis that will really help try to deal with both maternal health and early childhood health.
All right. Rob, you had another question, I presume?
Yeah, I have one more question, and I know that Dr. Brimmer, your schedule is very busy, so if you could take one more, and then we know you have to run. There's been a lot of discussion in President Obama's foreign policy about the importance of multilateral diplomacy, and working with all the nations around the world. And I was wondering if you could discuss a little bit, the emphasis and the importance of the United Nations over the last couple of years and then going forward in terms of dealing with the United Nations as an organization?
Yes, thank you. Indeed, one of the hallmarks of the Obama administration foreign policy has been the emphasis on multilateral institutions. We very much understand that working with other nations in a concerted way is absolutely crucial to so many foreign policy issues, whether it's dealing with peace and security issues and peacekeeping, whether it's dealing with issues of nuclear nonproliferation, whether dealing with human rights or addressing food security and nutrition. All of those require cooperation among countries. The United States has to work with other partners, and the United Nations system remains the central system for addressing widespread global issues. We work with regional organizations as well in a variety of different configurations, but the center of this larger web of international organizations remains the United Nations, which is why we're all here in New York this week.
If I can sort of sneak in one last question, Dr. Brimmer. I see we just have a couple minutes left. Can you maybe give us some preview of President Obama's speech tomorrow? Anything we should be looking out for his speech to the main UN General Assembly?
Well, overall, of course, for viewers to understand, there'll both be a speech today on development issues, and then the speech on Thursday will be the President's traditional speech to the United Nations General Assembly, in which he will cover overall foreign policy issues and international affairs and multilateral issues, both many continuities from last year, but also looking out across the peace and security, human rights, and environment issues.
Great. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you fitting us into your very busy schedule. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Brimmer.
Good to talk to you.
Thanks, everyone. Okay.
Yeah, that was Dr. Esther Brimmer, Assistant Secretary for International.
Great.